Folks, I got some theory evidence for why there is a God, and this God is the Christian God, Jesus. And I got some that's not hearsay either. This comes directly from my own life. Let's go back in time. It's 1988, 1989. I experienced a rash of answered prayers. Now, to be honest, a lot of the things I prayed for I didn't get, but some of the things I prayed for I got. One time I was at the ball game, at the school ball game, Mount Calvary Christian Academy, the basketball game, and I prayed, Lord, I'm hungry. Now, let me tell you what I was like that back then. I wanted to be friends with Jesus. Yes, he is Lord, but I wanted him to love me, and me and Jesus be able to talk just like best friends. So I would tell him everything. But back then I had doubts whether I was saved or not. Terrified that I was not saved, and terrified of going to hell. But the fact that God was answering my prayers boosted my confidence that maybe I was saved. I did not doubt for 1 second that he was real. I believed every word of that Bible was true. Back to the story. I said like I was talking to my best friend. Lord, I'm hungry. I'm not sure whether I also said, can you get me something to eat tonight? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm not sure. But let's say, Lord, I'm hungry. About 30 to 40 minutes later, the secretary of the school hands me a basket of fries. I asked her. I told her but I don't have any money to buy this with. She's like, oh, it's okay. You can have them. Wow. Well, I begin to wonder, God, are you answering my prayers or is it just chance? So one Sunday night in the church service, I was praying silently within myself, praying in my mind. I was not speaking the words. My lips were not moving. Lord, if you answered at least some of the prayers I prayed, if you are the one who's answered at least some of my prayers, please send someone up to pray with me when I go up to the altar when the invitation was called. So I went up to the altar as soon as they began singing the invitational hymn. Nobody came up and prayed with me. I was downcast. I was glum. When I got home, my Aunt Dee was there visiting my mom. Now my Aunt Dee is my mom's sister. And I often talk to her about my spiritual condition. She was my confidant. She had been my confidant since I was in the 5th grade, actually. I love my Aunt Dee. She's still alive today. And I told her what had happened. She's like, that's funny, because I felt impressed to go up and pray with you, but I didn't go up and pray with you. All of a sudden, I felt a joy, a sense of relief. Kind of about find out, my grandpa told me he had felt the same thing to go up and pray with me, but he didn't. Well, fast forward to the weekend before, November 4th, 1990. I was really troubled. Was I really saved? I hoped I had been saved. Because if I was not saved, the thought that I was not saved was terrifying. Because getting saved is hard. You have to die to yourself. It's hard. It's if you're not saved, the thought of having to get saved is terrifying. But I had answered prayers. I had asked Jesus to save me multiple, countless times in the past 6 years. Moreover, I was disturbed. How does the blood of Christ work? Well, I was reading in my dad's Schofield Bible that Saturday night. It says, justification is the act whereby the judge himself, that's God, declares the sinner not guilty on the merits of what Jesus did on the cross, him being sinless and him having paid our penalty for sin, which is death. Oh, that I saw it so clearly. I felt a great sense of comfort. Well. Added to this, the next Saturday night, I had lost my car keys. I worked at Pizza Hut. It was a Saturday night. I was looking for my car keys, asking around. Nobody had seen them. I was distressed, so I called Pastor Wayne King at 12:30 in the morning. Yeah, and asked him to pray with me that I could find my car keys. And he did not mind at all. He was full of love. He was happy to pray with me. Not about 15 minutes later, I was sitting in one of the booths in front of the cash register. I turned my head. There were my keys beside the cash register. And how they had gotten there, I had no clue. But I was shook. And as I remembered, a year and a half before, experienced a lot of answered prayers. Oh, here's another thing I had prayed for. I forgot to mention. One night, my cousins had gone camping. Now, I had asked my cousin to come spend the night with me. And instead of coming to spend the night with me, he went camping with my uncle. So I prayed, Lord, please let it rain and spoil that camping trip. I told my mom what I prayed for. She's like, Chris, don't pray for that. Let them have their camping trip. But Paul said he was going to spend the night with me, and he was until he went camping with them. About 45 minutes later, we hear peals of thunder outside. Mom says, Chris, what is that outside? Is that a thunderstorm? And the weatherman comes on. I don't know where these storms are coming from, but we got some storms coming our way. Now, to be honest, that was not my best answered prayer. Not by a long shot. Not like the one where the woman gave me some fries after I told the Lord I was hungry. And keep in mind, whenever I prayed, I didn't pray out loud. I prayed silently, so nobody could hear me but God. Well, back to the story I'm telling you. The next morning, after I had found my car keys, after getting Pastor G. Wayne King to pray with me over the phone at 12:30 at night, the next morning was a beautiful, cool, sunny morning. The weather outside was absolutely fantabulous. Perfectly cool. I was in the church service sitting in the back pew. Remember what I had read in Dad's Schofield Bible about justification. In spite of the fact that I believed I was saved, I hoped I was saved, but I didn't know. Just in case, I said, Lord, please declare me absolutely righteous by the death of Jesus' sinless death on that cross when he died for me. Please declare me absolutely righteous of all my sins. Now, I cannot remember where I said all my sins past, present, and future, or just all my sins and was thinking past, present, and future. I cannot remember that, but I prayed that, and I meant it. I meant it. But here's the problem I was having. Being born again, being changed, dying to myself. I figured if I could just get my foot in the door and be forgiven of my sins, somehow, all that hard part about being saved somehow just fall in place, just work itself out somehow without me having to worry about it. So I remember something I had read years before in my open Bible, the notes. Your salvation. There are many counterfeits out there. Your salvation you must provide its proof. You have a right to demand it. You have a right to demand whether your salvation is counterfeit or not. Since I had just asked to be declared righteous, let me explain what I mean by declared righteous. We all have sinned. Jesus never sinned a day in his life. The penalty for sin is death. We all have to die. But since Jesus was sinless and died anyways, that creates a reverse debt where God can look at us and say, hey, I see no more sin in you because Jesus paid your debt. I hope I explained it crystal clear to you. But anyways, remembering what I had read in my old open Bible I had gotten when I was for Christmas. I think when I was 12 years old. That thought disturbed me because I knew I didn't feel born again. I knew I had not been changed inside. But when I had prayed that prayer asking to be declared righteous, I meant it. So I prayed to Jesus in my mind. Lord, if you answer the prayer I prayed, meaning to be declared, if I was asking Jesus, if you answered the prayer I just prayed to be declared righteous, or would have answered it but didn't because I had already been saved. You see, the thought that I had just gotten saved right there was terrifying. Because that, as I was saying, Lord, if you answered the prayer I prayed, or you would have answered it, I'm going to go up to this altar to pray. But I'm gonna ask for. I didn't have enough faith to pray that anybody would come up and pray with me. I said, Lord, either if you answer that prayer, please send either my Didi or my grandpa up to pray with me. Now this time, God, I will not accept it as coming from you if one of them does not actually come up and pray with me. You're God, I said confidently. You can do anything. You can make one of them come up and pray with me. Now, why to say Didi or Grandpa? Probably because subconsciously I knew that because I subconsciously suspected that if they might come up and pray with me. Did I subconsciously believe that maybe the thing that I'm asking, did the electricity in my mind, was there a connection with of the electricity in my mind with the electricity in their brains? Was that why I can only ask for either Grandpa or Aunt Didi to come up and pray with me? You figure that out. Anyways, I said, Lord, I'm not going to accept this that's coming from you unless one of them, either Grandpa or Aunt Didi, actually comes up and prays with me. So, the invitation started. The pastor said, we're going to see the first and last verse of the invitation. Oh, victory in Jesus. That's him he's singing. I thought to myself, that's not going to be enough time. So as soon as the singing started, I walked forward to the altar and knelt down and started praying. No, I didn't start praying. I just laid there and I just knelt there, hoping. Well, I felt one king arm slip around me, and he said, "I don't know what you're praying for, Chris, but I just want you to know I love you, and he prayed with me. And went back up to the behind the pulpit and extended the service invitation him one more verse. I said, Lord, thanks for Wayne King coming down and pray with me, but that was not either Aunt Dee Dee or Grandpa. I was a lot calmer. Wayne would later say I looked so like something was on my mind when I came up to the altar to pray. I had to give you those facts too. And after he prayed with me, I felt calm. But still, I said to God, that was not Aunt Dee Dee or Grandpa. Well, as they were singing that last verse, I felt Aunt Dee Dee's hand gently slipping in mine, asking if she could pray with me. I was shook. Nevertheless, I was shook. Traumatized. What had actually happened. After the service, my brother's best friend Stevie Lai asked, what were you praying for up there? What were you praying for up there? And later, as I used to always do back then, my mom, my Aunt Dee Dee, that's her sister, and their mom, my grandma, George, were walking in the park. And Dee Dee told my mom, I really felt impressed with the Spirit to go up and pray with you. And to pray with Chris. Damn. She said, I really felt impressed with the Spirit to go up and pray with Chris. And I would quiz her on that over the years. Because if God had answered my prayer, that meant I was saved. And I just knew I had not been born again. But if I was saved, somehow maybe the new birth took care of itself and I just didn't know it. And she's like, I'd not go up. I'm a shy person, Aunt Dee Dee would tell me. I'd not do stuff like that. But something was just drawing me up. To go up, something, all of a sudden, all of a sudden I was just going up to pray with you. Now I don't know why. I don't know what it was. I don't know why. Something was drawing me up there to you. So, atheist, can you explain this? Is there any other religion, Islam, Hinduism, voodoo, or something like this has happened to a person like this? Why has it only happened in Christianity? Could it be that Jesus is real? Oh, let me tell you the last part of the story. Has a final ending. In November of 2014, I was in jail. Yes, I went to jail. Charged with stalking police. Cyber stalking the police. And communicating threats. And there's a charge for felony report of weapon of mass destruction. Anyways, I was reading in Dr. Billy Graham's book, Peace with God. Mom had sent me that book. With the new birth, all the new birth was receiving a bit towards Jesus Christ from God. I'm like, that's not so threatening. So I prayed, I wrestled, I struggled, until I finally felt myself giving up to Jesus. That part of me I had been holding back all my life prior to that. And I believe I was completely born again that day in jail. Now because when I read that by Billy Graham, I said, well, I've already taken care of the part where you have to be forgiven your sins. All I got to do is receive that bent towards Jesus Christ. That's all I got to do. And after I received that bent, something inside me changed. Now, you examine the way I talk in my YouTube videos, my anger, you would never know I was saved. But something inside me changed. So what are you making my story now? Atheists, Christians,